Is Al-Aqsa in danger?
It's one of the holiest sites in the world.
And most controversial.
This site is known as the Temple Mount to Jews, their holiest site, because it's where the first Jewish temple and the second Jewish temple stood. When the Romans destroyed the Second Temple in 70 CE, the Jews were expelled from their homeland here in Jerusalem.
On top of the Jewish temple remains, at the same site, Al-Aqsa Mosque. The third holiest site in Islam was built in 705 after the Muslim conquest of the Levant. Islamic tradition holds that only Muslims should be allowed at Al-Aqsa, whereas Jewish tradition believes anyone should be permitted, but that eventually a third temple should be rebuilt.
Both beliefs are obviously problematic for the other group.
Fast forward to modern era. In 1967, when Israel reunited the city of Jerusalem,
The IDF gave control of Judaism's holiest site, the Temple Mount, to the Jordanian Waqf as a gesture of goodwill.
since then, it's Jordan's Waqf that sets the rules for Al-Aqsa.
Not Israel.
Yet there's a common myth that Israel is forbidding Muslims from one of their holiest sites.
Are they?
Let's take a look.
First, the Waqf doesn't allow non-Muslims to enter the compound, except for one entrance that's open to non-Muslims, and only at certain times.
There is also no shortage of restrictions on non-Muslims who do visit. See this list.
Right now, a bunch of Jews came and tried to drink from this water right here, and the policeman said no, said you can't drink here, here are the rules, but of course this nice Arab woman is drinking. We were told that we can't drink from the water because we are Jews.
For example, non-Muslims are strictly forbidden from praying at the site. And if they're seen doing so, they're removed.
It's actually Israel's police who work with the Waqf to enforce these regulations and to respect Muslim religious customs. Now, of course, there are a minority of extreme voices who've called for destroying Al-Aqsa. But the majority of the public and the majority of leaders of the state speak out against it. See for yourself.
Israel reaffirms its commitment to upholding unchanged the status quo on the Temple Mount. Israel has no intention to divide the Temple Mount.
The fact is, Israeli Arab, Palestinians, and any nationality of Muslims are allowed to worship freely at Al-Aqsa.
In 2018, Israel welcomed a record number of Muslim tourists from Egypt, Jordan, Morocco, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Algeria, Indonesia, and other Muslim countries.
And in 2019, there were even more.
For Palestinians, Israel grants thousands of additional permits just to Muslims to pray at Al-Aqsa during Ramadan and during the holy days.
On Eid al-Fitr this year, 100,000 Muslims, including thousands of Palestinians, prayed at Al-Aqsa Mosque when non-Muslims were forbidden from even entering the compound. So why do so many people claim otherwise?
Unfortunately, Al-Aqsa has been used as a political tool to incite violence against Israel. Before the State of Israel even existed in 1929, Hajj Amin al-Husseini, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, spread rumors that the Jews planned to destroy Al-Aqsa, resulting in a massacre and ethnic cleansing of Jews in Hebron by angry mobs.
More recently, in every year since 2017, Hamas has called on Muslims to defend Al-Aqsa, claiming it's under threat, even when there's no change in the status quo.
In 2021, riots broke out at the Temple Mount when Palestinian worshippers began throwing rocks, Molotov cocktails, and attacking police after Ramadan prayers.
In response, the police attempted to evacuate the compound, using stun grenades and tear gas, sparking a wave of international condemnation and violence. The result, another war between Israel and Gaza after Hamas fired rockets at Jerusalem.
For decades, Arab leaders have used the myth that Al-Aqsa is in danger to fuel violence.
In 2000, it was even the trigger for the Second Intifada.
Yet who ended up paying the price for the Intifada? Over 3,000 Palestinians were killed. And for what?
Al-Aqsa isn't in danger and has never been.
But it has been used to persuade Palestinians to carry out the political agenda of some of their leaders.
So, Who should the anger really be directed at?
Israel or Palestinian leaders who've used it to distract from their own failed policies?
You decide.